Hi, everybody. BTMReview.com here with another Retro Rampage podcast. It's been a little while since we've had the Retro Rampage. We're doing it seasonal for a while. That one ends and we do another one. I think that's going to change. The goal here is to have our four main podcasts sort of very, very ongoing with each other and definitely overlapping. It's all about getting in that rhythm. And speaking of getting in that rhythm, I got a new guest with us, Mr. Zach Wells. Say hello, Zach.
Hello, Zach.
And I'm, of course, Aaron. So, with the help of some of these cool new dudes, we're going to be a lot more consistent with these things because, I love doing the game podcast. And it's a lot of fun. And, after doing things like the Walking Dead podcast, like if there's anybody out there that follows that, obviously that's a niche kind of market. Doing the Standard Behind the Mask podcast and Riverman. He's got his exploited cinema type podcasts, the Hobo with a Podcast. Those are more standard, a little longer. It's really nice to do these short spurts and these smaller break podcasts. But anyway, the topic of the hour, Zach, is E3 2015. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. No one's going to be shocked when they hear that. if they listen to this podcast, I'm a Nintendo fanboy through thick and thin. And even when they do wrong, it seems like I won't admit to it. But I'm very stoked to see what they're going to display, and I'm really fucking bummed that they pulled the Zelda U. That was Yeah, they pulled the Zelda U. That was kind of their crowning jewel for the events, and they were pushing that and marketing that because you know how these Zelda games go, man. They'll talk about it for like 2 or 3 years before it actually comes out. You'll get little breadcrumbs every few years at these big events, and it's really tedious. Anyway, everybody knows last year they showed the first footage of it, and everybody was wowed, and it was expected that it was going to be presented as a playable demo this year, and everybody was stoked for it. But they pulled that, and there's speculation as to why they pulled that. Now, I don't know if Nintendo gave a straight up answer, like maybe they gave some generic stock response like, it's just not quite ready. I'm really scared that they're going to pull a Twilight Princess and fucking push it off. Because since they made that first announcement, they've made the new announcement about their new system, the NX codename, which it doesn't sound like it's a replacement console. It sounds like it's going to be congruent and ongoing alongside the Wii U. And they're saying it's going to be totally different. Other than that, we don't know what it is. But I'm scared they're going to pull the Twilight Princess thing where they pushed it off so it could be a launch title for the Wii. And it was just a fucking cheesy ass port for the GameCube. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And the motion controls sucked dick. It's like it wasn't ready. They just, I don't know. They prematurely did it, and it was definitely at the cost of the game because we all know Twilight Princess, the best version to own is the GameCube version. But right. So I'm scared that that's what they're doing, and they're going to push it off even further to market this new sort of abandoned ship move called the NX, which I'm excited for, man. But I just think that'll be cheap. I hope the Wii U keeps going.
You were talking about Zelda, the Twilight Princess. I actually have the GameCube version, and it actually it's just as much now used as it was when I bought it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the Wii version is really cheap, so it shows you no one wants the Wii version.
Oh, it's true, man, and it just failed because they just kind of flipped and swapped everything. Like Link's right-handed on the Wii version, they literally mirrored everything so it could work with the Wii controllers, and they're not really motion controllers. It's like basically you're just hitting the D-pad and the buttons while holding these fucking fucked up like nunchuck controller. It's so cheap and so stupid, and for them to come out with such an innovative idea. And their game that they're supposed to come out swinging with to sell this idea didn't even incorporate that idea very well. It was just a big mess. And I don't know what it is about Nintendo, man. They can never make their they always make their deadlines, but they just fucking accept mediocrity. Like, we got to make the deadline, so let's half-ass everything. I don't understand it, but Anyway, besides that, Zelda U looked pretty cool. I mean, in an age where everything is open world, I mean, I don't know if anything's gonna wow you. I mean, it looked like a really big Hyrule. You saw the video, right?
Oh yeah.
But it's nothing like the worlds in Fallout or fucking the Elder Scrolls games, you know.
Yeah.
It's all been done. But I mean, like I said, I don't need a huge world. I really don't. I mean, if they're trying to wow me with that stuff, it's only gonna take so much. I just want a good Zelda game, man.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking like that'd be great if they made another 2D one. Like they wouldn't even have to put as much effort into all the level design and everything.
Well, and I thought about that too. I mean, did you play Link Between Worlds? I know that was kind of too 3D.
I haven't gotten to yet.
That game, everybody out there, I mean, that game is not only the best game on the 3DS, it ranks really high in just the Zelda series. I mean, it's so much fun, and it being sort of a kind of a sequel to Link to the Past, that sounds cheap. It's like, hey, we want to please a certain fan base, so we're going to cop out and return to a world that we, experienced years ago. It sounds like a cop out, but they did it so well because it is that same world, but they changed things enough to where it really is its own identity. But at the same time, you have that familiarity of that same Hyrule. You know where everything is, and it just takes you back, man. And it's so much fun, and it feels like it's about as long as Link to the Past. It's not very long. It's not like Twilight Princess long, but I love that. It's one of those games where if you're going to complain about it in any area, it's that I just wanted it to be longer. And in fact, as soon as it finished and I 100%ed it, I played it again. I started right over. So, I mean, I thought about them doing a 2D one too. Just like do old school. And, and I mean, not for a handheld. Like, dude, put it on the eShop. If they're too afraid to make that physical, put it on the eShop and, test the waters, then release it physical. I mean, I'd be all about that.
Right. I'm looking forward to playing it. I actually got a DS because I never got to play Ocarina of Time or the one after it,
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, so I knew that was coming out, and I wanted to get them both.
You never played Ocarina of Time?
I'd never had a Nintendo 64 until I remember like a friend sold it to me for $10. It was way after it was old, and he only had a couple games that I got with it.
So you have a really cool and interesting perspective on that game because it's really hyped. It's pretty much revered as the greatest game of all time in many circles. So you playing it in your adulthood, not like in your childhood, because a lot of us associate things with nostalgia, you can be a good reference point of how good the game is without having those memories attached to it. Kind of like the way I felt about Indiana Jones. I mean, we're going to sidestep for movies here. I never watched a single Indiana Jones movie when I was a kid, and everybody loved those movies. And the new one was coming out, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and then my roommate at the time, he wanted me to go see it, and I was like, all right, so we marathoned them. We watched all three of them before heading to the movie theater to see the premiere, the fourth one, and I had never seen them. You're coming from a guy that was actually a lot older than me who grew up worshiping those movies. And me, I was watching them through the eyes of an adult, and I watched 1, 2, 3, and literally 4 right after. And you know what? I didn't fucking think they were that great. I thought,
oh yeah,
no. And you know what? And everybody hated the fourth one, right? All these fans hated the fourth one. I didn't think the fourth one was any fucking better or worse than the other three because I didn't have that nostalgia attached.
That's probably what it is then.
No. So tell me what you thought about Ocarina of Time.
I'm still playing it, and I enjoy it. So, my only gripe with it really is I can never get that used to handheld games.
Oh,
it's something. It's just something that I can't do very long. I kind of put it down and I come back to it.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to kick that and play through the whole game.
Yeah, it's a killer title, man. I only play handhelds. Like, I travel quite a bit. So, I mean, it's my best friend when I'm like in a hotel room or I'm on the road or whatever. But yeah, when I'm not, I'm guilty of just playing console games. And I'm not a PC gamer, but and as everybody knows, I pretty much stick to the classics. I really don't play a whole lot of new games, but besides the occasional. But yeah, anyway, so the Zelda Wii U, I'm hoping it doesn't take too much longer and they're not delaying it just to please the NX. And I hope the Wii U isn't doomed. I hope the Wii U goes on for at least a few more years. And somehow these two systems are different enough to where they can coexist and yet complement each other. But other than that, I'm stoked. I want a new Zelda. I think the art style was kind of not different enough from Skyward Sword, but it looked nice, man. Other than that, from Nintendo, I know there's going to be the Star Fox display, and I hear that's going to be playable. Now, Star Fox, he needs a good game desperately. Yeah.
They need to release that Star Fox 2.
Did you guys? Okay, yeah, they just announced. Did you read that?
Oh, no.
Okay, they just announced. It was literally a day or two ago. But see, now that Star Fox 2 repro cart that goes around or whatever, it almost finished back in the day. The story goes, I mean, I don't know if it was like 85 or 90% finished. It was all but finished. And they literally abandoned it at the last second because it was running too close with the release of the N64.
Same thing with Zelda Twilight Princess.
Yeah, exactly. And so they just abandoned ship. Like, you know what, but and exactly, you're right though. The graphical jump from the Nintendo 64, I'm sorry, the Super Nintendo and the Nintendo 64 was so huge, they just felt like abandoning ship. Whereas with the Zelda story, the Wii was just a little bit more powerful of a GameCube. They kind of look the same. They can get away with it. But yeah, for some reason they abandoned ship and they put all their efforts into Star Fox 64. And I'm not too sure why they would abandon anything when it's that close to being done, especially when they were still releasing Super Nintendo games during 1995, 96. You think of things like Yoshi's Island, which were really pushing the capabilities of Super Nintendo towards the end of the era there, with like the 3D effects and things like that. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they wanted Star Fox to make a certain time window and they didn't want them overlapping. That's probably what it was. It's like, look, we can't have two games coming out so far from each other, and we want Star Fox 64 pretty early in the release of the Nintendo 64. But anyway, long story short, there was a source that came out said that was working on the team that was on board with the original Star Fox 2, and I guess between him and some other party, they finished it. It's finished. Now, I don't know what they're going to do with it. Now, if Nintendo was smart, they would put it on the eShop. Because
that's what I was hoping.
That cart goes for a decent chunk of change. If you want to find that repro, that cart or whatever that's basically unfinished. I mean, I don't know why Nintendo wouldn't do it. In fact, I don't know why they don't put a lot of games on the eShop. I mean, it's a big mystery to me. But this one especially, would just spell money. They have nothing to lose from it, and I think they only have profit to gain because there's tons. I would buy that in a heartbeat. Because, I mean, you don't want to buy the cart online. You don't want to buy the cart and pay all that money. It's like when they released Earthbound, man. And even Earthbound, they took advantage. You remember when they put Earthbound out and they're charging fucking $15 for it?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the normal Super Nintendo games go for, what, like $8 to $10, $8 is kind of the standard. But even they know, hey, Earthbound goes for a lot, online. So we're going to charge a little more for this one, which is kind of shitty.
Yeah.
But they could do that for Star Fox 2 and everybody will eat it up.
Yeah. They do that with like a lot of games. Like they, for a long time, only in Japan, they did Fatal Frame. The Fatal Frame games?
Yeah.
They there was like a Fatal Frame 4. They did a remake of the second game.
Uh-huh.
And a new one, Fatal Frame 5, I guess it is. And I heard somewhere that they're actually going to port, maybe it's 5 to the Wii U here, and they're gonna put English subtitle. I don't know if they're gonna redo the voice acting or what, but I'm happy to hear that.
We live in a day and age where they usually give you the option, don't you? They usually give you the option of like, do you want to hear the subtitles in English, or do you want to hear the original Japanese text?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, a couple weeks ago they announced that it was going to finally come stateside, which is cool because the Wii U needs more exclusives, and that's always good.
And plus, that game is like perfect for that controller.
Oh, absolutely! It's like if there was any game that was you have a camera. It's like, for God's sakes,
right?
It's on, the writing is on the wall. It's so perfect.
And I can't believe they wouldn't release the remake of the second game, because that's the one that a lot of people consider the second one the best in the series, right?
Well, they'll maybe take advantage of, and maybe they'll do the whole Bayonetta thing. And maybe they'll just include it. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe it's done in the same engine. I don't know too much about the remake, but maybe it wouldn't be so much of an issue. I mean, you know what? It's not a super mainstream franchise here in America.
Yeah, that's...
It's not. That's exactly the problem of why it wasn't coming out. So, you know what? Throw in a bundle there, man. Make people really want to buy it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna make the prediction right now. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna pull a Bayonetta. But yeah, man, more exclusives. I'm all for it. Definitely stoked for Star Fox. More Star Fox is always good. What games are you looking forward to the most?
I got a couple. Are you a fan of the Deus Ex series?
I never played them, man. I've never played them.
You gotta at least play the last one that came out, the Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Now, I think I have those downloaded on the PlayStation Network. They're Sony, right? They're PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's, I think I never got to play the first two, which the first one was just called Deus Ex, and the second one I think was only released for the original Xbox. And they're making a new one now, and I can't remember the title of it, but I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be on, Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, have you bought in any of those systems yet?
No, I got all of them now.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
I've still yet to jump on board with any of the new systems. I mean,
really?
Eventually I'll get a PlayStation 4, but there's just not enough.
Yeah.
There's not enough there to sell me, and I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely wait for a while. I really wanted to play the new Thief game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's not very good, though. But the other ones were only on PC. And
are those like Assassin's Creed games? I mean, it just sounds like Thief. Like, are you like kind of stealthy? Is it something like that?
It's
a ripoff.
I actually heard that it started out like whenever they started making it, it was like it started out as some kind of submarine simulator.
Good Lord.
Yeah, and I guess it became a stealth game, and I've heard Kojima say that it was a big influence for Metal Gear.
Okay. Who I want to know who was on that marketing team that was studying the analytics and just totally saw it, the writing on the wall that, dude, we need more fucking submarine simulators. That's what the people want. Look at look at this. It's going through the roof.
That's a big thing for PCs. I don't know why. Like you hear about this goat simulator that's really big for some reason.
Lord, do you fuck the goat?
No, I guess you play as the goat, and I guess it's just
eating grass.
Well, that's what you'd think, but it's goofy, and I guess you can get them to roll around and bounce around and go 50 feet up in the air or something.
I don't know, man.
I don't know much about it. There's people that play. There's one called I Am Bread, where you're a slice of bread, and you gotta get from like the table that you start out on. You gotta walk somehow and get to the toaster.
Bread doesn't walk, Zach.
I know. I don't understand.
Why would you be the bread? And why would your goal to get in the toaster? Why would you be committing harikari like that? Like I'm in a bread simulator, and if I was bread, I would be not going for the toaster. I would not want to get eaten and fried. I don't know, man. It's a crazy world. This is why I'm not a PC gamer.
Yeah.
So are they having a Deus display at E3?
Yeah, well, they've already announced it. I'm sure they'll give us more about it. They kind of just showed a trailer for it. So
it's more of an anticipated thing. Is there any title E3 that are confirmed that you're looking for, or any more titles that you hope are going to be showcased a little bit?
I know they're going to announce Fallout 4.
Yeah, well, I saw the countdown clock for that today, actually.
Yeah, so are you a fan of those games at all?
I actually never played Fallout, but I think they look rad. Like, yeah. I know that if I started playing it, I would get addicted to it.
Yeah, they're real fun.
It's just, just the story behind it, the world behind it, it all sounds like my cup of Java, man. I mean, I look at it like this. The new modern era of gaming, it's not even gaming anymore. It's just like interactive movies. It's a little different. That's why I love retro so much, because it is video gaming in its most pure form. But as a film fan, if I'm going to play a new game, I look at it like, would I watch this movie? Would I watch a movie that was basically sold to me as the story of Fallout? Fuck yeah. That sounds cool, man. It sounds like a badass movie. It's like, why not? So,
oh yeah,
it's like somebody ripping off Mad Max, the Road Warrior, and turning it to an MMO today. Like, and just kind of, it would work so well as that post-apocalyptic, big, wide open world thing.
Right.
There's so many different things. I mean, fuck, can you imagine Blade Runner as a game?
Apparently it is a game.
What?
Apparently there's a PC point-and-click adventure game that...
Okay, well, that sounds like dog shit, Zach.
It does, but I've heard it's really... Have you ever played the Kojima game that was on the...
Snatcher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It actually sounds a lot like Snatcher, and Snatcher was point and click, and Snatcher was obviously heavily influenced from that movie. But I'm more or less just saying, like, if that movie never existed and somebody basically had that same concept today, and instead it was an MMO or something, it would work so well. The line is a little bit blurred these days. Whereas, back in the day, you had Super Mario Brothers, and nobody could have predicted, this would be a great movie. Somebody clearly thought it would be a good movie, and they were clearly fucking wrong.
Or was it the best movie ever?
It's just one of those fucking movies, man. You love to hate it. But anyway, is there anything else from E3, or is that the kibosh on that one?
Oh, I got one I'd really like to see.
Lay it on us, man.
Well, actually, I got two more. One is, I can just say real quick, is Half-Life 3.
Everybody wants Half-Life 3.
The other one is a new Metroid game.
Oh yeah, and everybody wants a new Metroid, man. A legit answer to the Prime series.
Right.
Hell, I mean, like I said, I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I love talking about those franchises all day long. And I'm really hoping it's going to be Nintendo's hour. I'm always hoping that they wow and blow away the competition. But a new Metroid, it doesn't even have to be Metroid Prime 4 or whatever. It could be a new take, kind of like Metroid Prime was different from, Super Metroid and the original Metroid. I mean, it could be a new thing. As long as they get the right team behind it and it's a cool idea. Hell, I mean, it could be very classic style as long as it's not sort of that weird thing that Other M ended up being. But
oh yeah, I was gonna mention that.
It's just, it's whatever. But at the same time, if it was a Prime 4, that would be amazing. I mean, they need to just completely buy out Retro Studios and give them more staffing, because they can only take so much. They didn't make a new Metroid game because they devoted their time to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, because Donkey Kong is just the higher selling franchise and they got to go where the money is, obviously. Which, by the way, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze would be such a perfect game if it wasn't so motherfucking hard. It is way too hard. Like,
I still haven't gotten a chance to play it yet.
It is way too hard. Like, too hard to the point where, like, it takes away the enjoyment. It's not like you could not be an expert gamer and get through relatively unscathed. Like, it's impossible because stuff happens every 2 feet in that game, and you basically have to play the level over and over and over and over and over again so you can avoid all these death traps that you otherwise can't avoid. And it's just very fucking tedious. And not to mention, the levels are long and the boss battles are so long, man. Every boss has 3 phases and they're fucking harder than shit. So like you're gonna die about 1,000,000 times just to finally figure out and beat the first phase of the boss. Then you're gonna sit there and finally be able to make it to the second phase. Then you're gonna die 20 more times. Then you're gonna be able to finally figure out how to beat both of them, and you just repeat the process, man. It is just so taxing. But anyway, new Metroid would be kick-ass. And for anybody out there that isn't aware, they recently put the Wii games on the old eShop, and you can get the Metroid Prime trilogy on there. Speaking of games that cost a lot of money online, hint hint, Star Fox.
I got the Metroid Prime trilogy for $10.
Yeah, me too. I got it for when it was on sale the first week.
I actually kind of ripped off Family Video when I did it.
Oh, you got the real legit. You got the legit physical copy.
Yeah.
Is it the Steelbook?
Yep.
Fucking A, Zach. Damn. I legitimately regret not getting that. I really pushed it off, and it ended up going for a fortune and becoming scarce. And even when it started shooting up in price, even when it was already established as an expensive game online and you couldn't find it in retails anymore, I passed up on the opportunity one more time, and I kicked myself for it. I frequent Best Buy's website and look at the used titles online, and this was kind of before, I guess, it was going for its high dollar prices online, but I guess a lot of retailers hadn't caught on to that. And one of the stores had gotten in a used copy of it, and they were still charging $9.99 for it. And I saw it online, and I pushed it off, man. I don't know if I didn't have the cash or what. And of course, I regret it. I knew I was going to regret it. And yeah, I regret it. But anyway, if you're like me and you're a moron, you know, go on the eShop and you can download it now for $19.99. I mean, you missed the sale, but whatever. It's still a great deal for some great games. But that's E3. Can't wait for it. Looking forward to some Nintendo action.